Hello everybody, I am the Black Sigma, or you could just call me Eric. And although it's not my normal duty, I was assigned to guard the evidence room that day. I spotted a suspicious man on the security screen and rushed into the room. I was only doing what I was trained to do, sir. I was suddenly attacked. I fought for my life, then I did it. After that, I passed out until another officer smacked me awake.
So the victim, Detective Goodman, attacked you?
Do unto others before they do unto you. That's the Meekins family motto, sir.
I see. Then you fainted and a colleague helped you regain consciousness?
Yes, sir, he knocked me upside the head, sir.
Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination.
What I need here is more info to work with.
In other words, press the testimony.
Mr. Meekins, you work in the General Affairs Department, do you not?
Yes, sir.
I am in charge of hiring new recruits, sir.
Yikes, now there's a scary thought. Evidence transferal was taking place on the day of the crime, pardon me, which meant many officers were given special tasks not ordinarily performed.
I was in charge of guarding the Blue Badger, sir.
The Blue Badger?
Yes, sir, the lovely police mascot created by the Chief of Detectives, sir. I was to ensure it wasn't broken during the transferal process. That was my sole mission for the day, sir.
I see. Sounds like a very, important mission.
After the award ceremony finished that day, there were so many people running around that I relocated the Blue Badger to the evidence room.
So that's why you went to the evidence room. Tell us, what did you see when you got there?
So the Blue Badger was in the evidence room at the time of the murder. If only I were able to look at the handprint on the Blue Badger. I spotted a suspicious man on the security screen and rushed into the room. I was only doing what I was told to do, sir.
By suspicious man, you mean Detective Goodman?
In order to enter the evidence room, you need an ID card. Precisely, I have one right here around my neck. So then your ID number should be listed on this report, right? There it is, I found it! This is the one right here.
Could you please read us the number?
Yes, sir, it's 4989596. That's my number, sir. I see, huh? But the number 4989596 is shown as being used twice.
Please explain, witness.
It's no real mystery, sir. The first time is when I relocated the Blue Badger to the evidence room, and the second time is when I went in to get him after everything settled down.
I see. So it was during that second time when...
Yes, that's when I spotted the man on my screen. I was only doing what I was trained to do, sir. I was suddenly attacked.
So you were attacked? Can you tell us exactly what happened?
It was a knife, sir, a knife.
Detective Goodman pulled a knife on you. What happened then?
Well, with him charging in on me, me charging in on him like that, he looked as surprised as I was. That's when I reacted, sir. I swung my arms like an octopus, struggling to detain him. That's how I got this gash on my hand. Maybe if you just kept your cool, your hand wouldn't be. When I saw the blood trickling down my arm, I panicked. I grabbed the man by his collar. I fought for my life, then I did it.
What exactly do you mean when you say you did it?
I know I don't look like the type, but I'm really into kung fu films, sir. The man let his guard down for just an incident, so I snatched the knife from him.
You took his knife?
I spun him around and performed a disarming maneuver. I made sure to close my eyes like a man.
Say, must have been desperate.
Next thing I knew, his white coat was drenched in a sea of my blood, and then the next thing I knew,
Yes? He punched me right in my face, sir. After that, I passed out until another officer smacked me awake. What time did you regain consciousness? You don't know. According to the report from the officer that woke up the witness, it was about 5:30. He hit me right in the head too. I woke up crying tears of pain. That's nice. I mean, it's nice that you recovered, that is. When I came around though, I made sure to finish my mission, sir. Your mission? Yes, sir, the Blue Badger, sir. I returned him to the entrance before things got out of hand. Well, we can all rest easy now. I believe we now have a fairly accurate picture of what happened. Yes, Your Honor, only one thing remains unclear. Was the man this officer murdered really the victim? He's got a point. Yes, Officer Meekins. With regard to that, sir, take a look at this. It was sent to my jail cell. Chief can't deliver it to me just this morning, sir. The chief delivered it? What is that, a videotape? Yes, sir, that's absolutely right, a videotape, sir. It contains footage from the security camera in the evidence room. What? But I specifically asked if there was such a tape, and was told it had been mistakenly erased. That's quite a mistake. I just do what I'm told, sir. It's the only thing I'm really good at. Looks like the communication with the police department is as good as ever. Well then, let's have a look. Show us the video of you murdering the victim. Oh, please stop using that word, murder, sir. It scares me. Video of a real murder. Just what are we getting ourselves into? So the Blue Badger already had the handprint on it at the time. We can't see Detective Goodman's face, only his coat. We can't identify that that's in fact Detective Goodman. Although, the lockers are fingerprint sensitive. Meekins walks in. And does in fact get a knife pulled on him. A full knife. The knife from the SL9 incident is broken. Wait, how'd Detective Goodman get out of the room? He didn't go past the camera. Well, I believe we're all thinking the same thing. How can we deal with these unsettling feelings stirred within us? What the hell was that wriggling piece of plywood? Sir, that is the pride and joy of the entire Criminal Affairs Department, sir. That's the Blue Badger, sir. Why am I not surprised this isn't going smoothly? Yes, well, anyway, this tape seems to prove that the witness did indeed encounter someone in the evidence room and some sort of activity took place. Your Honor, instead of relying on clearly incomplete footage, the witness's testimony will suffice. Is that all right with you, Officer Meekins? Yes, sir, as you wish, sir. Oh, new testimony? His face can't clearly be seen in the video, but there's no question that the other person was Detective Goodman, sir. I mean, he opened the locker which required Detective Goodman's fingerprint to do. The locker he opened is unquestionably Detective Goodman's locker, sir. So it must be him, no one else could have unlocked it. So what's this about fingerprint? Each detective has been given a locker equipped with... Oh, pardon me. I really shouldn't have had all that soda before this trial. It's equipped with a fingerprint-activated lock. These locks ensure that each locker can only be opened by the detective it belongs to. Intriguing. That would mean The victim at the crime scene would have had to have been Detective Goodman. Very well, the defense may begin its cross-examination. Don't know where this'll lead, but everything begins with contradictions. So that's where we have to start. His face can't clearly be seen in the video. Correct. No question that it was Detective Goodman, but you don't know that for sure, do you? You never actually saw Detective Goodman's face. Well, I suppose you might say that. That is, if you must label people as having seen or not seen it. Since his face can't be identified in the video, only you can verify it. Well, why is everyone looking at me? If I had to label your stares as disturbing or Meekins. Having been shown a questionable video at best, we are not in the best of moods. Now please be more certain when you testify. Yes, sir. You claimed the man who brandished a knife on you was Bruce Goodman. Tell us why you are positive it was him. He opened the locker, which requires Goodman's fingerprint. No other way to open them. He's tried all sorts of methods in the past. Only respond to registered prints. The locker he opened is Goodman's. How do you know? I've heard rumors, sir. People in the know. Workers in the cafeteria keep him informed. For the record, the opened locker did indeed belong to Detective Goodman. I verified this information through a more reliable source. Victim opened the locker with his own print. Must have been him, no one else could have unlocked it. However, the most important detail is not shown in this video, the man's face. Sir, if I may say something, sir? Please do. After all, you're the one being examined. I don't understand why the man's face is so important in this case. I mean, if it was his hand that unlocked the fingerprint lock, and it was his hand that tried to thrust his knife into my body, sir. My unsettled state can testify enough to this, sir. Yes, you have a point, the footage doesn't lie. Unless the defense can find a problem with it. Mr. Wright, let's check the court record again. I mean, there has to be a problem. Regarding the video contained on this tape, one thing in particular that seems rather strange. This contradiction leads to the possibility that the man may not have been Detective Goodman. What? This video contains such a contradiction? Interesting. Sounds like you're bluffing out your ass, right? Like you picked the only dialogue option that made sense without actually knowing what you mean. Your Honor, I have a proposal. Yes, Mr. Edgeworth? I propose we have the defense point out to us this alleged contradiction in the video. Yep. Very well, proposal inspected. Let us further inspect this piece of evidence. Also, I said inspected instead of accepted. Please, ignore my poor wording. I will now play the security tape. Mr. Wright, please show us this contradiction you speak of. Ugh. Okay, I can fast forward, wait, rewind, or pause it. Please don't play it too many times, can't stand watching it. Okay then. Contradiction that indicates we cannot tell if this was Goodman or not. Well, here's another point of interest that I don't think is the contradiction in what we're looking for right now, but how is there a bloody handprint behind where the blue badger was placed? Neither of the contradictions I can
think of prove that that person isn't Goodman. Because the only contradictions I'm thinking of are how did a handprint get behind the blue badger, and the fact that is a whole knife. Well, guess I'll try it. Is it the knife? No, it's not the knife. Okay, let's try this again. I sure am glad I get as many attempts as this as I like without having to deal with the, nope. It's a good thing I get all the attempts at this without being penalized. Could it be the blood splatter on his shoulder? Because it doesn't match the one in the photo of Lana wearing basically the same coat? Or because, rather, it does? Not what I intended to do, I just wanted to pause the video. Not the blood splatter on the shoulder. Okay. I guess something about the glove falling out of the locker, maybe, but I don't know why that'd be relevant to prove this isn't Goodman. What? Yes, that is strange. Something certainly seems unnatural about that. What could it mean? Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Wright, but you seem to have forgotten the point of this exercise. The point? What you are looking for is one thing and one thing only. Something that indicates the man may not be Detective Goodman. Yeah. Whew, almost walked right into the defense's trap. I'll place him under arrest, sir. Rats. I need to slow down and tackle these things one piece at a time. Now what do I do? Okay, so something is weird about the glove falling out, but it doesn't prove that he isn't Goodman. Then, what in the heck am I looking at? To prove that this man is not Goodman. Mean his tie isn't polka dotted? I'm really at a loss here. Let's see, he opens the locker, the LED for it being open is lit. Wait a fucking minute. No. The locker was already open. God, that's a pain to see in black and white. Officer Meekins. Sir, do you mean me, sir? As I understand it, the locker apparatus works like this. When you grab the handle, a sensor reads your fingerprint. If it's a match, the light turns on and the lock is released. According to my very limited experience, that's the way I understand it, sir. If so, then something is seriously wrong with this picture. You see, the light was already on before Goodman even touched the locker. Can I skip over this? I finally figured it out. Can I skip over this? When the victim reaches for the handle to open the locker, let's rewind to a little earlier. Oh god, we don't have to sit through this whole thing. Just, Phoenix, we know, the light was already on. Here, notice the light.
What's this?
It's already lit. Precisely my point, Your Honor. The locker was already open before the victim grabbed the handle. Order, order, what's the meaning of this? It's very simple, Your Honor. The locker wasn't locked on the day of the crime. But the locker locks are controlled by an electronic system. When a door is shut, the sensor is triggered and the locker is automatically locked. Oh, I know, it must have broken down. Of course, I'm not an expert in this. That's not likely, Your Honor. The sensor would detect and report a malfunction. Oh well, just goes to show novices should keep their mouths shut. So then, Mr. Wright, do you have an explanation? Me, Your Honor? Yes, why wasn't the locker locked? Well, you see... What do you think? Huh? Oh, maybe something like jammed the system sensor? As in... something that fell as soon as the locker was fully opened and was jammed in the lock? Okay. I know where we're going with this one. The locker was already locked because this glove here jammed the sensor. Please watch closely, this is a continuation of the part I showed you earlier. Please, why do we have to sit through it every time? At least we don't have to listen to the Blue Badger's theme song constantly.
What's this? Something white fell out of the locker.
But sir, it's been my experience that things fall out when doors are opened. I often fall out and roll great distances when I open my door, so... We can't be sure that item was completely inside the locker to begin with.
What do you mean?
The sensor triggers the lock when the door is shut. What if something was inserted, say, between the sensor and the door?
Inserted?
Mm-hmm. Speaking of which, I just noticed something else. This white thing that wasn't inside the locker, it was stuck between the door and the sensor. Oh, I understand now, sir. It's just like my tie. 2 out of 3 times I get it stuck in the door when I get out of my patrol vehicle too. So, it ends up choking me.
But the object would have to be extremely thin for it to fit in the door. Not only that, it would have to block electrical currents. It would need to be an insulator.
Yes, an insulator, but at the crime scene, there just might have been something that fits the description. But sir, by insulator, you don't mean... Oh, I know exactly what this is. It's a rubber glove, Your Honor. Found this near the locker, a thin rubber glove.
But we can't be sure that was in the victim's locker.
It has a tag that says SL9 incident. The video seems to depict the victim opening the locker, but that isn't the case. The lit lamp attests to this. On the day of the crime, even I could have opened that locker. Is this not so, Officer Meekins? Sir, it would appear so, sir. Meaning it may not have been Goodman.
Order, order, order. So we are to believe then that the victim, whom this witness stabbed in the evidence room, was not Detective Goodman.
Do not be misled, Your Honor.
What do you mean, Edgeworth?
The defense has merely demonstrated that possibility and nothing more. The victim in the video was indeed Bruce Goodman. The prosecution will offer one more testimony to prove this. What? Officer Meekins, please testify about this. Sir, me, sir, I'm not sure what you're referring to, sir. Oh, you mean that, sir, of course, sir. Is this a joke?
Very well, begin your testimony.
You know what else was interesting in that video? When Phoenix played it back there? You see, right at the start there's nothing jammed into that first locker, Jake Marshall's locker. But still, there should be nothing there. And yet, towards the end of this video, after the attack has taken place, and we pan over to see that Goodman has mysteriously disappeared, we should see that the cloth is in Jake Marshall's locker. There's one other thing that proves that man was Detective Goodman, sir. It was not. To enter the evidence room, one must use their ID card. When an ID card is used, there's a record of it. At the time of the crime, the detective had used his card.
An ID card record, I see. I have the ID card record right here, Your Honor. The ID used at 5:14 is that of the victim. Just before the crime, Yes, without a doubt, this is the victim's ID. However, one thing does strike me as unusual. Several hundred cases should have been due for transferal. Why are there so few people using this room? This particular evidence room is only used for storing certain special cases. Special cases? Extremely violent cases involving police staff. Just hearing that makes my hair stand on end. Me too, although it doesn't make much of a difference. There were only a few cases up for transferal there, and most were cleared up by noon. Right, I see. Now let's move on to the cross-examination.
Kind of interesting. Oh, we just noted Edgeworth's name is on the record. So it is, Your Honor. Why are people blaming Edgeworth for the murder?
It would seem the inquiry committee will want to speak with you again today.
I have nothing to be ashamed of regarding my actions or their consequences. For now, let us continue with cross-examination. Poor Mr. Edgeworth. Must be so difficult for him. The time of the crime, the detective had used his card. Earlier, I believe you testified that when you asked the man to show his ID card, he pulled a knife on you. Yes, sir, he didn't show me any ID card, sir. Don't you think that's odd? I mean, if he had his ID card, all he had to do was show it to you. There wouldn't be any reason to draw a knife. Maybe he just panicked. Everything stems from contradiction, so let's point him out. I'm confused. Problem with this ID card testimony is far too obvious. Not like Edgeworth to miss something like this. You're thinking too hard about it. Come on, let's show them what we've got. The time of the crime, the detective had used his card. I'm fairly certain I've got to prove that Goodman didn't have his card on him at the time, but I'm not sure if I'm presenting this on the right piece of testimony. I guess I am. Wait one moment, Officer Meekins. I'm not good at waiting, sir. I have the victim's ID card right here. I found it at the crime scene.
That makes sense.
When I say crime scene, I'm not referring to the evidence room at the police department. I mean the other crime scene. The underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office. Your Honor, I have one more piece of evidence to present. It's a very important clue regarding the victim's ID card.
Lost item report. It's only half completed.
but it shows that Detective Goodman had lost something on the day of the crime. Something important enough to fill out this report. Let me guess. You believe this something is his ID card, right? Can't say for sure, but there's a high probability. On the day of the crime, Detective Goodman was not carrying his card. Order. So now, what does this all mean? Can only mean one thing. Doesn't even require much thought. The man Officer Meekins encountered in the evidence room was not Detective Goodman, but rather the man who stole his ID card. Order. Does the prosecution have a response? I have only one thing to say to the defense. You're an absolute buffoon, right? I mean, bravo, Mr. Wright. Bravo? Allow me to summarize the defense's argument. At 5:15 p.m. on the day of the crime, the man in the evidence room Officer Meekins encountered was not Detective Goodman. There are two grounds to support this. First, the locker in the evidence room was already unlocked. Second, the victim lost his ID card. Am I correct so far, Mr. Wright? Yes. That being the case, we must inevitably arrive at a single conclusion. If the victim in this video is a fake, then the murderer in the evidence room is also fake. In other words, the security camera does not show the instant of the murder. That is... well, I guess that's right. Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? Only moments ago you seemed content to be pointing your finger around. This isn't gonna end well. Well, it seems you finally realized exactly what you've gone to such lengths to prove. Explain yourself, Mr. Edgeworth. The defense has already done the explaining for me. The victim in this video is a fake, which means a murder did not take place at the police department at 5:15 on the day of the crime. So, the real crime could only take place at one location, the underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office, the murderer being Ms. Lana Skye, the defendant. The evidence is compelling. A trustworthy witness observed the moment the defendant used the murder weapon. I knew that testimony was way too shabby. It was all a trap from the beginning. The activity in the evidence room still leaves many questions unanswered. Who exactly was the victim Officer Meekins encountered? And where did this person disappear to? However, this trial's purpose is to examine only the murder of Detective Goodman. Just so, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, you have to do something or else Lana... What do I do? How am I supposed to get myself out of this mess? By raising an objection? One moment, Your Honor. What now, Mr. Wright? Don't tell me you're objecting to what you've just proven. Of course not. But I almost walked right into the prosecution's trap. What are you talking about? This cross-examination has proven one thing and one thing only. The security video did not show the actual murder. Get to the point, right? However, it cannot be said that it is unrelated to the murder in the parking lot. Specifically, large amounts of blood traces were found in the evidence room. The defense demands further examination into the truth of the matter. Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor? If this court were to examine this further, other witnesses will be necessary. Is the prosecution prepared? I'm sorry, Your Honor. The prosecution considered the incident at the police department to be unrelated. We have not prepared any other witnesses for this incident. This just might be my chance. Time to call a certain Texas Ranger to the stand. Mr. Wright, do you mean, Your Honor? The defense would like to request a specific witness. Oh, whom do you have in mind? Someone we have reason to believe knows the truth. The truth behind the activities that took place in the evidence room. The prosecution requests to hear this person's name before deciding whether or not to comply. Very well then, Mr. Wright. This person whom you would have testify, what is his or her name? Officer Jake Marshall, Your Honor. Why him? Can't let Edgeworth know everything just yet. He's in charge of the evidence room. I feel we should hear what he has to say. The prosecution agrees to the defense's request. Since he was responsible for guarding the room, we should hear his testimony. Fortunately, he works in the police department. We shouldn't need longer than 20 minutes to prepare. Very well. The court will take a 30-minute recess while the witness is subpoenaed. Will the prosecution please prepare the witness during that time? We will, Your Honor. Court is now in recess. And, with the court adjourned for but half an hour, I will see all of you in the next episode. Bye.